Welcome back to Heather's Mixed Media Studio. Today I want to start the series of just doing basic level things with my gel plates. I have 3 different gel plates. The first one is the one I bought not knowing anything about gel plates. This is a Speedball 5x7. The problem with the Speedball plates, and you can pick these up at Michael's and the like, is that they all say do not use with acrylics. Now, I've been playing with this particular plate since about September, so 5 or 6 months. And let me pull out, like that print was made with that plate. These were made with that plate. So I'm telling you, you absolutely can use acrylic paints with them, but they are not designed for it. So just know that while you can do it, and they do seem to work just fine, they're not particularly designed for it. Now, the very first time I used my Speedball Not for Acrylics plate, it's stained, and I know you can't see it on the camera, but I can still see the ghost image of where I used my Posca paint markers on it the very first time. I can see every single thing I drew on that very first print because there's still a ghost image on this plate from where I did that. If you look at the back side, right at the moment, give me a moment, there, that back side, you can see all of the staining, this blue stain here. This was a violet acrylic paint that stained the plate that color. The next several pulls I pull off of that side are almost certainly going to pull up more of that particular paint. But today I'm going to work on this side, and all I'm going to do for pulls on this side today are just the most basic thing you can possibly do. I'm trying to decide what direction I want to go with it. I think I want to go left to right. So the very most basic thing you can do with a plate. All right. It wasn't going to bother me that it wasn't square, but now that I know you're looking at it, it's bothering me that it's not square. All right. Give me a second to straighten this out. You do want to try not to catch air bubbles underneath it. I know when I flipped it over, there were a ton of air bubbles, but hopefully that laid it down a little more smoothly. Anyway, it's now square on the plate. It was bothering me. Okay. I've been playing with this plate for months now, and so I can do a basic pull. I pretty much know how to do that. I also have a new brayer. This is my old brayer, still has stuff all over it, but it's squishy. You can see how it squishes. I did acquire some new brayers. These came off the internet, and they don't quite squish as well as that one does. And from the people I watch on YouTube, you really want the squishy brayers. So might work. I'm going to use the new brayer on the 2 other plates because they're so much bigger. But this one can do, 2-3 passes on this plate with no problem. The problem is that, it's too big for this plate, but probably the right size for the other 2 plates. A thing that I noticed in the pulls I was doing on this plate previously is that my paint dries very fast. And I just today noticed when I was looking at this bottle of black, this is an apple barrel, it says quick drying on it. Now, most of the bottles that I have are folk art. This is from a set of folk art paints that I bought. And they just say premium acrylic. They don't say anything about the drying time. Shake well. Huh, I never did that. I should probably start shaking these before I use them. All right, that's good to know. Oh, interesting. Also, Plaid, trademark folk art, and Plaid apple barrel. Apparently the same company, just selling paint under different names. Good to know. At any rate, I did some research online and discovered that in fact, I think I was doing that research on the Gelly Art's website. I did a bunch of reading on Gelly Art's website and Gel Press website, and they recommended that if you needed it to have more open time, which is time where it's still wet, where it's still malleable and you can still do things with it, you could get Liquitex, well, any brand, acrylic mediums slow dry. It slows the drying time and extends color. I don't know about that. I will say that if you buy this product, it does have one tiny problem if you're new, like me. Directions. For acrylic colors, mediums only. Okay, fine. Only use it with acrylics. Can thin with up to 25% water. Are they saying I can thin the paint with up to 25% water? I can thin the medium with up to 25% water? Compatible with all Liquitex products. So, only use this with acrylics, can thin something with up to 25% water, and compatible with Liquitex. It doesn't give me a ratio. It doesn't say a tenth of, 1 to 10, 2 to 4. I have no idea how I'm supposed to use this, and it doesn't say on the bottle. So your guess is as good as mine. I decided that if I can thin something with up to 25% water, that meant that I could use 1/4 this and 3/4 of my colors and do it at it's a quarter this and 3/4 that. Is that the right amount? I have no idea. But I do know that I went through half a bottle, and this is not cheap. It's just really not cheap. But what I did is I took the standard Roy G. Biv of all my folk art colors and created an open version, meaning a longer drying time version of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And then I did the same with my metallics, with my gold, silver, and copper. I think I want to use sage as a pole color. And so I wanted to try some of that as an open also, meaning it'll have a longer dry time. And then I had some tiny little bottles, and I tried to make tiny amounts of primary magenta, violet, viridian, which is a type of green, and phthalocyanine blue. Phthalocyanine blue. I can speak, I just can't read. These are basically jewel tones. Are they going to work the way I'm hoping they do? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, that's some of the prep work I did today. But on the most basic level, you should be able to put paint down, put paper on it, pull it, and get a thing. So we're going to do that. And I really like green, so we're going to do it with green on this one. I also want to do it, with both the regular and the open that I created, and see if that makes any difference. I need to shake, apparently I need to shake both of them. I don't know how well I got the open paint mixed. So we'll start with this one. We'll start with the regular. And so from what I saw in all the videos I watched, actually I was going to do an ombre, that's right. Let's do a green, blue, purple ombre on this one. Oh wait, if I'm going to do, I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud and talking out loud and not quite prepared for my own video. How sad is that? Okay, now I have all the Roy G. Biv out. We're good. So we're going to do a little splooch of green over here. And it really doesn't take a lot of paint. I've played with these enough to know that you don't need a lot of paint to get a good thin layer of color on your plate. Some blue over there. Now these are not the opens. These are the regular time length ones that I haven't mixed at all. These are just as they come from folk art. And I think the problem with my folk art ones is they dry too fast. When I can get them out of the tube at all. Come on. Work with me. Right, there it is. Too much purple, but whatever. All right. And then from what I read, you just, this is the pick up and go method. Like you see me patting it up, picking it up and patting it down. Most of the creators I've seen, this is kind of how they get the paint to go across the thing. But so far all we've done, there's a little too much paint in the purple. You start getting, the more often you do these, you start getting a feel for when you've got too much paint on the plate and when you don't have enough. See, and this green already looks too dry. I don't know, I'm worried about it. Doesn't matter. So let's put a piece of paper down and we're going to do a quick pull and see what happens. So you do want to, lay your paper down, make sure you get it to stick to all of the wet that's down there. And at its most basic level, a monoprint is just putting the color down and picking the paper. See, that green dried way too fast. In the time it took me to put the blue and the purple down, the green had already dried. And so this green's on the plate now until I get it wet so that it'll come up. You can see too much white through this paper. I may not have had enough paint. So maybe next time I put some more paint down. I'm going to try that same pull, but I'm going to use the open and see if that makes an appreciable difference, because I bet that it will. All right. Oh, goodness. It's also really cold in my room, so... All right, let's try it again, but with the open. The problem with these is I don't know how well I got them mixed. Because I didn't go in and mix them, I threw them in the tub together and then just kind of shook the daylights out of them. But that might not have been sufficient. So I don't know, these might be a problem too. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's tap them all down to the bottom because there wasn't a lot in them to start with, because I don't have a lot of paint to play with and I don't want to go buy more paint because it'll cost a lot of money that I don't have. All right, so let's see what we get here. Use a little more of it also and see what that does. So a little bit of green there. But see, I'm actually using more paint this time around because I think that was part of the problem. And these should have a longer dry time. We'll see. We shall see. All right, so let's start with the purple this time, and if it's going to mess up, it'll mess up here instead of down there. Let's see how that goes. Let's get this blue going across here. And I don't mind that they're mixing together. I'm fine with that, because this is all just trial and error anyway. Now, I can tell I have too much paint on the thing, so I want to do yeah, see that? It shouldn't slide like that. It should roll. Anyway, that's the thing I did. So let's try and see, and it beat it up there even. All right, so anyway, we're trying to, yeah, I'm having problems. Let's do another brayer off, so I clearly have too much paint on this brayer. Yeah. Yeah, I'm worried about how that plate's behaving up there. But I think we're down to a normal amount of paint at this point. Yeah, well, use this side. So let's try and get a pull off of here. Now these are with the paints that say they're open, should have a longer drying time. So everything should come up nice and clean this time. Now that green that we laid down at the bottom may not come up with it. I'm not sure. And I'm not trying to do a long pull here. I'm not leaving it overnight. I just want to see what'll come up quickly. You do, however, want to press it down. You want to make sure it makes good contact with it. So that's what all this business is about. So anyway, here we go. Let's see what happens. Whoa, that stayed down too long. All right, this is a problem. When your paint is too wet and you don't pull it up fast enough, which is what's going on here, you're going to have this problem. Yikes. Yikes. Okay, I have created a mess. So it did pull the green up, which was nice, but the paint was too wet and it saturated the paper enough that the paper wants to stay here until it and the paint are dry, and then it'll lift up. So, yeah. This is going to be a nightmare to clean off. Yay. Fun for me. Alright, that was a fail. So, alright, I'm going to take a minute here and try to get the plate cleaned off. This is just water. I have learned that when this happens, the way that makes me happiest to get it off the plate is to get it very, very wet so the paper will just come off. Because right now that's all I want, is to get the paper off. Now there's a bunch of different ways that you can clean your gel plate, and I cleaned all three of my, well, no, that's not true. I cleaned 2 of my gel plates before I started this video. The reason I did that is that it's possible that the cheap Chinese plate just needs some TLC. So I cleaned it all off, and I'm going to try it again today and see if I can get it to work. Now, see, you can see these clean off really well with just water, paper towel. It's okay. They are nearly indestructible. And honestly, you can clean them with water. You can clean them with baby wipes. You can, if you use oil paints, Gel Press recommends that you clean oil paints off with baby oil. I do have baby oil in here. I could use it, but it doesn't say anything on their website about using baby oil to just generally condition your plates. Now, all the people I watch online say that's the way to do it, but that's not what the people who manufacture the plate are saying. So I'm thinking maybe I don't want to do that, because that's not what the manufacturer says to do. So I don't know. You gotta use your best judgment. So like I said, you can see that it cleans off really pretty easily. This is a baby wipe, in case I missed anything with the water. I've used baby wipes on this plate forever. It's fine. There. See, it gets even more off than just the water alone does. Plus, I had some up on the edges. I wanted to clean that off. And then now, I'm going to lay this down here just to clean up the wet from the baby wipe. Because the baby wipe was wet. Alright, anyway. As far as baby wipes, I use the Huggies Simple Clean Fragrance Free, because it's better for my hands, honestly. Alright, so we got one, almost a pole. Yeah, but not quite. So let's try... Let's try just one single color and see if I can make a pole with just one color. Here's a green that I like. This is Craft Smart Rainforest. And so we'll throw down a couple splooshes of that. Now, one moment, please. Sploosh, and a sploosh, and a sploosh. Should be plenty of paint. There. Oh, except I don't have any sheets of paper ready. That's a problem. Let me get a couple sheets of paper ready. Of course, I have everything sitting on top of the ream paper. Oh, I'm sure somebody's going to ask. All these smart people who know what they're doing are going to want to know what pound of paper I'm using. Give me a moment. I am using 20-pound Elementary printer paper. 75 GSM, whatever all that means. Oh, sustainably made from sawmill waste chips using wind energy and hydropower. Anyway, it's 20-pound paper. 20-pound generic copier paper. Now, I know some people pull with 32-pound. I don't know if I can find any 32-pound paper anywhere. So this is 20. It's what I've been using. And maybe the paper's my problem. That's totally possible. But I know most of us are told to just buy and use copy paper, so I'm buying and using copy paper. Right now I need my big scissors, which went the way of the dodo. They were here 5 seconds ago. How come it is that every time I work at my table, everything disappears the minute I actually need it? Alright, so scissors. You don't have to cut your paper in half, but I'm using 5x7 plates, so... Alright. And again, this is the Speedball. Don't use acrylic paint on this plate. Right? So I do understand that I'm doing something you're not supposed to be doing with this plate in the first place. It's fine. I have a brayer off ready to go. I have a clean piece of paper ready to go. So that out of your way. So let's just get the paint on here. At some reasonable amount of get the paint on here. There, that's pretty good. It's not, I could probably still use to brayer some of this off. Yeah, see, now it's getting lighter, but it's not leaving the streak marks like it was before, and it kind of is up here. I'm not sure what's going on with the top of this plate. It's behaving weirdly. Anyway, that is probably good. So let's get a piece of paper down before it dries. Not leaving contact too long, and pull it up. It's sticking on me a little bit, but not too bad. Yeah, it was in contact. See, and you can stop it from doing that, but I was too lazy and didn't. But anyway, at its most basic level, that's how you do a gel print pull. Again, though, this is a plate that you're not supposed to be able to use acrylic paints with, so some of the problems I'm having here might be because you're not supposed to be able to do it with acrylic paints. Let's clean that off. See, it's just easier to do it with water, but if all you have with your baby wipes will do. It's leaving a certain amount of the paint behind, which is annoying, but alright. Anyway, so I have done what I intended to do with this plate right now, which was do a single color and or an ombre pull and see what happened. And so the pulls that we've done so far have been this ombre attempt where the green didn't quite come up, and this one that was just green, and yeah, I lost a little paper, but I'm okay. There, now you'll never know I lost a little bit of paper. It'll be fine. I can see where I did up and down with the brayer and then did across the bottom with the brayer, and I don't like how it's giving me this painted look. It didn't used to do that. When I first started using this plate, the paint acted differently on it than it is acting currently. You'll have to take my word for that. I did do a long haul pull on this plate recently. The other side where it's all stained at also had these bright blues on it. So I just took a layer of Naples yellow just to try and get that blue to pull up. And so this was left to dry overnight, and then I pulled it, and you can see how it will pull an entire plate full of color if you leave it overnight and then do a pull. And you can also see the left behind of the stencil that I used. If you saw the Maker's Color combo that I did, this is cleaning up the plate after the Maker's Color combo. So you can still see where the violet, the can't remember the name of it. Not the Pantone blue, the other one, heliotrope. The heliotrope color I used was a deep violet, and it stained the plate. So I was trying to clean off the plate, and so this is what a long haul pull would look like, and it's got that glossy. I can feel that this is acrylic. Anyway, so those are some of the pulls that come off of this plate. I think that's all the more I want to play with this plate today. Now, the next plate that I'm going to play with, let's tuck that away. Give me just a moment to tuck it away. The next plate I want to play with, oh, goodness. This was the Cheap Chinese plate. And the Cheap Chinese plate is the one that I put a piece of paper on, and it took me an hour to peel the piece of paper off of this plate. I think my 8.5 by 10 paper is smaller than the plate. Yeah. So I might just do it on like half of the plate, just in case. But we're going to do the same thing here, and we're going to try it again, and we'll see what happens. I want to try an ombre effect again, and we'll just see. This plate is, it was marketed as a gel plate. It was made in China. The only pull I've done off of it was done with music paper. Someone suggested that the music paper might have been the problem as to why this one didn't pull right the last time I did a print off of it. And this is what I mean by music paper. It's from an old music book. This one had a print on it, probably on a different plate. You can see I've done some brayer off on it. I just wanted to have musical notes as a background, but you can tell that this is a different type of paper. It's thicker than this paper here, and somebody suggested the paper might have been a problem as to why those didn't pull right. And that's a thicker paper, but it's also a different, possibly a different, like, you know how dollar bills are printed on linen rag, and this is on sawmill chips or something, I don't know. So you have to worry about those things, apparently. So I'm hearing. So anyway, let's try for an ombre effect on this. We'll see if this paper disintegrates like it did on the speedball plate. It's all just trial and error, you know? So let's do some yellow down here, if I can get it out of, I swear. One of these days I'll be able to buy paint in a tube where I don't have to smack it all down to the bottom of the tube, just to make sure there's any paint coming out on the plate. All right, so we have some yellow. We have some orange in the middle, because I really want this ombre effect to work. Because single color pulls are boring. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Come on. Alright, so these guys can hang out here. I did say I wanted to use the wider brayer, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's do a brayer off here, because I think I have too much paint on the brayer. Could be a thing. Brayer that off. Grab a piece of paper before this paint all dries, and see what happens. Now this is the cheap Chinese plate. We'll see if it'll let me do a quick pull. All right. It let me do a quick pull. I don't know. Seeing all of those brayer strokes bothers me. Maybe all gel pulp prints look like that, and I just never noticed before. That's possible. Let's do the open. Same thing. See what happens. Last time, the open was a bad idea. Could be a bad idea this time. Let's try it anyway. These are just supposed to have a longer working time, so we shall see. That's red up here. It'll come out of the bottle. Come on. Orange out of the bottle. Yellow out of the bottle. Ooh. A little more liquidy, if nothing else. I hope that's good. Get off there. I'm going to want another brayer off page. And I'm going to want another pull page. All right. I guess we'll go this way. Don't like how that's behaving up there. Brayer off. Hello. And let's go this way. All right, well, now the colors are all muddy. Fine, whatever. And let's put this piece of paper down. See what happens. Let's go this way. And pull. Come on, buddy. I said pull. Yeah, okay. And it's working all right now, so that's okay. The one that got me in trouble was when I left a long haul on here. And that had much less of the streakiness that I didn't like. So I just need to remember to brayer in multiple directions going forward. I think that'll make that better. So that's good. Do I want to do anything else with this plate? Not right now. Right now I don't want to do anything else with this plate. But, oh, I think you guys saw it in the previous video where it had all kinds of gunk all over it. I did take it into the sink and wash it with soap and water, which is mild soap and water. It's one of the recommended ways to clean your gel plate, recommended by Gelly Arts and Gel Press both. So soap and water is how I got all that off. Third and final plate is the brand new Gelly Arts plate. It is on a clear backing now. The clear backing is not quite as big as the plate, which is a problem. I'm going to have to go get a new backing for this because I want it on a bigger one, a bigger thing. All right, so we're just going to do single color pull on this also. This time I think I want to do, I don't know. I kind of want to use my metallics, but I kind of don't. Sure, let's yeah, we'll fine. We'll do that. Let's try to get the paint to the bottom of the bottle again. There. All right. Some purple to the bottom. Get some yellow to the bottom. And we'll get some antique copper to the bottom. Do I want to do that or gold? Gold. I like the antique copper better, but I'm going to do gold in this case because I've got a Prince vibe in my mind. We'll see what happens. This is the first pull I will have ever done on the Gelly Arts plate. And it shows you on the back to roll paint in a thin layer with a brayer, create designs, lay paper on the surface, gently rub, pull paper from plate. So we're going to try that. I have a tool. I could use my fingers, but I don't want to. I bought a bunch of tools recently, and this one is really smooth on both sides of the ball, so I'm going to use the ball to just draw some stuff on here. And we'll see how it goes. Why do I have stuff on my plate already? I haven't even used it yet. Ugh. Anyway, probably just gunk from my studio, gunk from these bottles. Hey, look at this. I have a baby wipe. Get off of there. I don't want you on whatever my pretty picture is. Go away. Okay. Anyway. So, we're going to put... What happened to my paper? I want to dry the spot that I just hit with the baby wipe. Anyway. So we're going to do purple at the top. Lots of purple. Gold in the middle. Gold in the middle. And yellow on the bottom. Yellow on the bottom. Alright. And instead of using the new brayer that I'm not sure I like or not, which I left sticking to the paper for the brayer. It's not smart. Let's move that somewhere less annoying. I am going to use my little mini brayer. Let's get a brayer off sheet. Get a pull sheet. Okay. Because this brayer I know works well. The other one, not so sure yet. So anyway, let's do some purple. Purple going on here. Yeah, and see, I already like the performance of this brayer better, and I don't like that. I know what that is. I was making organic edges on a bunch of stencils earlier today, and that was some of that. Alright, so we got the purple down. Brayer that off a little bit. Now let's smooth the gold out. Yeah, it's going to have lines. I don't care. And we'll brayer the yellow out. Come on, yellow, work with me. Oh, whoops. Well, that wasn't what I intended, but okay, that's what we're doing now. I had a moment. Kind of like a senior moment where I just couldn't remember what I was supposed to be doing. There's something on my brayer that's leaving marks on the plate. And I don't like it, and it's new, and I'll have to clean the brayer. So I'll tell you what, we are going to use the old brayer to just smooth all that out. I don't like what's happening here. I don't know. Let's put paper on it and see what happens. Yeah, there's definitely something going on the plate there that I didn't like. Oh, I was supposed to draw a design. Too late. Alright, let's give it a pull. Oh, now see, that's how a true plate's supposed to work. Look at that. Even with the problems you can see here in the purple, that paper pulled off so smoothly. Oh my god. That's delightful. Let's try that again the way I intended to do it. Alright, first off, I gotta clean whatever the gunk is off my brayer. So let's try that again. We're gonna put paint down and brayer it the right way, or well, not the right way or wrong way, but the way that I want it to be brayered as opposed to the way that I actually brayered it, which was Not what I had intended. All right. That one, I don't want to use this one, but I don't know. I might. We'll see. We'll see. Right now there's paint all over my desk, which was not the point, but, you know, it happened. And I also don't think I liked quite... I think we're going to put purple in the middle this time. I think that will make me happier. So purple in the middle. Gold on the top. Yellow on the bottom. We'll see if I use too much paint, because that's entirely possible. I'm also used to using much smaller plates, so anyway. So we do this hit skip thing. Do a little brayer off business, because I think I have too much paint on my brayer now. Yeah, see, that's looking a lot more like what I like a thin layer of paint to look like. So now let's do the purple. Hit skip action with the purple. Drag it down here into the yellow a little bit. Might be too much purple on the brayer. Let's get some of that off of here. And do that again. A little bit. Yeah, see, that's looking more like I like to see. And let's hit the gold last. Help if I keep the bottles out of the way now, wouldn't it? Alright. I think I like gold. I probably should have done the copper. I think I like the copper better just in general. Both as a paint and as a color. Guess this is a little too see-through. I don't know. Not digging it. Anyway. We're going to call that enough with the brayering. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And we're just going to put... Oh, designs. Designs, we said we were going to do designs. Let's remember to do... Ooh. Yeah, see, the yellow's already too dry. It's not letting me really draw a design in it. Alright, so let's get this down before it gets any drier. Alright. And again, this should just be a nice quick pull. Yeah, see, the yellow already dried. That's a problem. Alright. And the purple too, because I'm getting some hit skip through the purple. But the paper just peels off so much nicer off the Jelly Arts plate than it does off either of the other two plates. So, let's put... I'm going to put some gold down, and we're going to let it dry on purpose. And then we're going to put the purple down. Get off of there. More brayer off sheets. I'll just turn it over. Actually, no, we'll let that page dry. We'll use these brayer off sheets because they should be dry already. You know what? I shouldn't have done this color. Let's fix that, actually. Don't want to use that color. So we're going to pull that color up real quick. Get it off the plate. There, I don't have to look at it. There's still some on there, but that's okay. Now there's also some on my thumb, which is also okay. Let's try it again. Here, pick up the rest of the pack. Sweet. Alright. Anyway, I don't want to use that color. I don't like that color. Didn't like the way it came out. So we are going to use some of this antique copper instead, because I like it better. It's just a richer, nicer, yummier color. I don't know what we want to call that. Let's clean the brayer off just in case. Yeah, the brayer needed cleaned off. Alright, so now let's get the paint out of the way and hit this antique copper on here. Okay, the antique copper's got some sludge going on. Probably should have shook that. Let's put the sludge. Painted my desk. Love it. All right. Future note, maybe don't brayer on your desk. Or brayer onto your desk. This kind of defeats the point of cleaning off the brayer if you're doing it onto your desk. Yeah, and that's brought gunk back onto the brayer again. Gunk off my brayer. Alright, so you can see how it's doing weird stuff over here, and I don't like that. I think that's because the paint wasn't mixed well. I don't know what's going on here. I want some of this copper on this plate, but I also don't want whatever's going on over there. Alright, anyway, there's copper on the plate now, but I need to shake my copper or something, because it's not supposed to behave like that, and it clearly is. Anyway, so we're going to let that dry, and I've got a hairdryer, but I don't use hairdryers aimed at my gel plate, because all you really need is wind. You don't need hot wind, you just need wind. So one of the things I will often do to dry my paint faster is just this kind of business, just to get the paint dry. I don't want to use it that though, but you know, anything that you've got, maybe not that, that'll just, you know, dry the paint. You can blow on it too, but your breath has humidity, and the air in my apartment does not. So I'm just trying to get that to dry. Yeah, see, it's, yeah, okay, it's still wet, but that's okay. It's getting there. So I want the copper to dry, and then what I'm going to do once that copper's dry is I'm going to put purple down over the entire thing. Oh, well, that's not dry. Let's try to draw some stuff in it. We'll draw some smiley faces. Yeah. Some smileys. Yeah, see, some of it's dry and some of it's not. There, now we have smiley faces. Fantastic. This stuff down here, clearly dry, and has some of that pattern in it, so it's okay. Now we're just going to throw purple over the whole thing, and we'll use our other brayer because it will make it easier to do and make it go faster. Alright, a little bit of purple. Fine then. Just smooth you around from there. There we go. Now let's put purple all over the whole thing. Alright. Little brayering off business here. Alright, both of my brayers are ostensibly clean. I need a piece of paper. Alright, I'm going to put that down. And ideally, this will pick up everything on the plate. I don't want to leave it forever because I'm not trying to do a long haul. There we go. There we go. So we've got our little smiley faces up here. We've got purple all over everything, though I don't like how the purple came out. And we've got the yellow down here that dried to the plate, and it all picked up beautifully. I will say that this Gelly Art plate is the easiest plate I've worked with so far. It's easier to pull the paper off. The paper releases just easier, in general easier, than either of the other two plates that I've got. The paint behaves on the plate the same way it behaves on the other plates. So that's not new. There is a learning curve to learning how much paint is too much paint, how much paint is just enough, and a certain amount of that is visual. I can look at the plate and tell you if I've got too much or not enough paint on the plate. When it's too much, it looks smeared, and it doesn't have that appearance when it's the right amount of paint. The right amount looks, I don't know, fuzzy, but that's not the word I mean, but that's how my eyes lens it. It looks furry. It looks airbrushed. There we go. It looks airbrushed when it's the right amount of paint. When it's the wrong amount of paint, it looks like it was slapped on with a paintbrush. That's how I can tell the difference between what's going to pull nice and what's going to pull terrible. So anyway, those are the 3 plates that I have to work with. That's just basic level stuff. Making a color, an ombre, drawing a little pattern in the paint while it's still wet and pulling it off. And none of these are overnight. None of these are 2-layer. I suppose that last one was technically 2 layers, but you know, that is the most basic type of pull you can do on a gel plate. The next time I work with these plates, I'm going to try some more advanced things like using stencils, maybe do a botanical pull, not doing anything really complicated, just trying to work my way up through the process of, really need to use a clean baby wipe because good Lord, it's so much gunk on that one. Just trying to work my way up through the learning curve of how to make a gel plate work. And I will say, so far, this Gelly Arts plate has been the easiest one to work with. I've been super pleased with this, grateful for the amount of money I put into it. I'm glad I worked some of my learning curve out on the Speedball plate, but I'm disappointed that the Speedball plate won't do everything it's supposed to do because, quote, don't use acrylics on the Speedball plate. Alright, so anyway, that's enough for this video. Next time we get together with gel plates, I'll be trying more advanced techniques. I will see you all then. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.